Hey everyone! Welcome to the first book club discussion for the Diversity is Lit book club. And I'm so excited that you guys are here. Please let us know in the comments if you're here. Oh yeah, here, now I can mute the YouTube video because there's that lag. Let us know that you're here. We are missing one of our guests, Alicia. She's having technical difficulties, so hopefully she will hop on soon. Poor Alicia! And if not, Alicia, if you're here and if worse comes to worse, definitely hop into the chat so that you're still participating. But let's see. So we've got Autumn. Hi, Autumn. Hi, friends. Yay. People are here. Scribbling Cat. Hello. Brittany's here. Hello. Sage is here. I'm so excited. JJ's here. I know JJ was like raving about Race and Ruin, so I'm so happy to see you here. Sage, I'm going to be in and out for a bit, just making dinner. No worries at all. And then Heather's popping into the comments. So thanks everyone for coming. If you don't know, so I'll just give a little introduction for the Diversity is Lit book club, and then everyone who's here will introduce themselves. So the Diversity is Lit book club is the book club that I started after the surge of the Black Lives Matter movement in June, and everyone was trying to promote like Black authors and writers. And even before like I saw people posting this, I was like, I need to do something for permanent change to uplift these authors and not have it be like a one-time thing. And then I was seeing Black authors posting on Twitter like, oh, thank you for all these posts, but I hope it's just not like a one and done type thing. You know, months from now, we won't see anything. So I was like, I need to make this book club so that we can, you know, continue to support Black authors and BIPOC authors. And so that's why I created this book club. So thank you guys for joining. And quickly, before I introduce people, because I don't want to forget that this discussion will have spoilers. So we will talk about the ending. We will talk about what we think will happen in the next book. So just be aware of that. But if you don't know me, I'm Holly Davis, also known as WriteHollyDavis across the interwebs. I write young adult and middle grade fantasy, and I'm hoping to start querying my next manuscript within the next couple months. So that's a little bit about me, and then I will hand it over to Vanessa. How about you start?
Okay. I'm terrible at introductions, but
don't worry.
Hi. And oh, Alicia.
Oh,
Alicia's here! Yay!
Oh, hello everyone.
Hi! Yay! Alicia made it! Yay! I'm so happy. I just gave a little intro to the book club, and then now we just started introductions. So perfect timing.
Great. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry. Go ahead, whoever.
No, you're fine.
Okay. So I'm Vanessa. So you can find me at Vanessa Marie on YouTube. I do AuthorTube and BookTube videos, and also author Vanessa Marie on Instagram, if you want to go follow me there. I write mostly YA fantasy and paranormal, and I do have a couple of flash fiction Friday stories up on Instagram if you guys want to go check those out. But yeah.
Cool. Awesome. I'll have to check them out. Okay, Heather.
Hi everyone, I'm Heather Venkat. I am known as WriteHeatherVenkat on Instagram and at WriteVenkat on Twitter. I am an aspiring YA and middle grade author. I am currently in the query trenches. I mostly write fantasy. I do have some contemporary story ideas and have written contemporary in the past. So I am very excited to have this conversation, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, welcome. Yay. Okay, we'll head to Teresa. We'll just go in a circle.
Hi, I'm Teresa. I write under the pen name T.A. Beasley. I've written 2 young adult contemporary books, and I have 2 romance anthologies out. And those are my contemporaries are young adult, and then I wrote the 2 romance anthologies, which is adult, and I'm currently working on an adult thriller. It's a trilogy. You can find me at Arthur T.A. Beasley on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Mainly, I'm on Instagram and Facebook. But I also am a book reviewer and a publishing consultant. And that's me.
Ooh,
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, happy to have you. And last but certainly not least, we have Alicia.
Hey, sorry for the technical difficulties I was having there. So I'm Alicia Grumley. You can find me on Instagram at writer Alicia Grumley, I believe. And I am working on twisted fairy tales in a young adult genre. I am a poet. And I'm just really happy that we're having conversations about BIPOC authors, and I'm really excited to talk about this book because it's so good. And I was to say, I know some of you have probably seen me. I'm part of Holly's mastermind group, and just it's been a great to have writerly friendships. So I'm excited to be here.
Yay! Yes, awesome. So let's see who else popped in. Pericula's here. Nice to see you again. And Brittany, so glad you started this. Thanks. I'm just so glad everyone is as excited as I am because like this just really spoke to my heart. And it was funny because Alicia and Brittany know that in the mastermind group earlier this year, I was kind of trying to brainstorm things I wanted to do, like different things with my platform. And I was like, well, I definitely don't want to start a book club. I legit thought that because I was like, oh, I just don't want to. And then in June, I was like, I need to do this. This is a thing that's happening. And so I'm just really excited. So we have like, you know, a whole bunch of questions to kind of guide us in the discussion. So everyone feel free to add like your answers in the comments because we want to be able to chat and talk with you guys too. And this is kind of like it's supposed to be super chill, but I wanted to have like some sort of structure. But so first things first, for Race and Ruin, I want to know like what are your overall thoughts of the book? And Alicia, you weren't here. I was saying that like we'll each kind of go and choose one of the questions that we want to talk about, just so there's, you know, kind of like, oh, I want to discuss this, so that there's some.
Okay.
Yeah, you can pick and choose which one. So, but I'll start kind of with the overall thoughts, which I did not complete my Goodreads review for Wraiths and Ruin because I was like, there are too many thoughts in my head right now, but I was just like, this book is amazing. I would give it a 6 out of 5 stars if I could. I loved it. I loved this book. It is my favorite book that I've read this year. And like, I knew it was going to be good, but I wasn't expecting how much I was going to enjoy it. Because for me, the world building was so rich and just drew me in. And it was like watching a movie. And I think there is going to be a movie, which is awesome. Yes, I think she says it in the the acknowledgements. That's something about a movie deal or something. So super excited to see it on film. Yeah, I believe that she says that. But also the dual POV, I thought that she did really, really well. Let's see what else that I had. The mental health representation, because Karina was suffering from the migraines, but she had everything that she had to overcome with her mom thinking that she hated her, and Malik, obviously, with his anxiety and the panic attacks, the anxiety which I could relate to. So that was really important to me, and I think that she represented it really well. And then all of the stakes and tension and conflict and all of that, which we will go into in the future questions. So that was my kind of overall thoughts about it. And anyone feel free to like jump in with your comments too. And if you don't want to answer a question, you don't have to. So this is totally chill.
I will say that I noticed that in the beginning of the book, my general thought was I think it had a good plot. I liked the characters and the description and the world building. But I also noticed at the beginning that it had, after the wish was made and it started to go into all the rest of the stuff that was going to happen, it had like a small Adam and Eve reference when they meet here.
Oh.
Which I liked, which was how I perceived it. But I thought that was just a nice way of putting it in there. But it just kind of reminded me of the whole Adam and Eve and the serpent kind of reference.
Oh, I love that. I didn't think about that at all. The one of the references I remember was when Karina was first out in the town and she was like under a disguise, like, she's the princess in disguise. And so that reminded me of like Aladdin. So it's kind of cool, like picking from a couple things.
Yeah, because when the snake says that he needs to turn into a form that they can relate to, that they would know, that's what made me think of the whole Adam and Eve serpent type situation.
Totally.
That was nice that she had that in there.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, there was a lot of imagery. Well, I didn't pick up on that and kind of foreshadowing that Rosie had in the book that I really appreciated. And when I finished it, I was like, where's book 2? Where is it? I was like, kept turning the page, like, where's more? I need more. I thought it was a very strong debut. And there were just a lot of unexpected twists throughout the book. And I don't know about you guys, but I did not actually read the book blurb before reading the book because I tend to not like to avoid spoilers. So everything that they mentioned, which is actually a decent chunk of the book, maybe the first 20% is already spoiled in the book jacket cover. But I actually, all of those things were surprises to me. So it was just so rich and I loved it.
Awesome. Yes.
Vanessa, do you want to hop in or say you want a few more seconds?
Yeah, I mean, I loved it. I think what surprised me is I didn't expect to love it as much as I did, and it became a favorite of this year, which I wasn't expecting, but it was amazing. And I wrote in my Goodreads review, I was like, okay, now I need to go back and reread it from a writer's point, because there was so much there that was so good. I did start rereading it, and I'm like, this is so good.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you made that point. I think that because I usually don't reread books, but I'm like, oh, there are some books that I would reread over again, and this would definitely be one of them. And it's interesting too that you said about reading it from a writer's point of view, because at first, because I was taking notes as I was reading, I was kind of looking at a writer's point of view because I was trying to be like analytical, but then at the end I was just like, this is amazing. But I specifically remembered, and I have it here on this page, that Layla stated the theme for the B story / Malik's like internal arc, which was so I was like, this is the B story moment. If you guys read Save the Cat and if you guys are a plotter, but she said, does some stranger matter more than we do? And then it was saying how Malik used his heart over his head with trying to help the boy who stole, who stole his satchel. So I was like, oh, if he's using his heart over his head, is he going to do that later too with Karina? So like it was a bit of foreshadowing there, because I was like, this is the theme for him. And but then I couldn't find Karina's because I just like became engrossed in it.
I loved it. I was invested more quickly in Karina's point of view, but it might just be because I'm a female and I can kind of relate to those things. And she had just this spark, I felt like Karina just definitely has the spark that kind of drew me to her. And we're under the like guys that everybody has read it, and if they haven't, like spoilers are coming in this discussion, right?
Yes.
Okay. So
you weren't here when I gave the spoiler disclaimer, but yes.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that. So I agree with Heather. Like I needed book 2 like right away because I was so mad. I was so mad at Malik. I'm like, what in the heck? No. Like, bro, come back. Like, come back to the other side. And like I just really like how Rosie's doing this. Like their arcs are intertwined, but they're kind of like a wave. Like they're opposite. You know, like when she's up, he's down, and when he's down, you know, like, and so I really am liking that so far because it's going to really give that tension as their story continues. And I didn't get a chance to show you guys this yet, but I put a little wave on my hand. Let's see, how am I going to rotate it? There we go. Because I'm a water aligned. So I did that. I was like, and I've got like the green and silver makeup on.
Oh, you've got the emblem. You're making us look bad.
You know I love to do a theme. Holly knows I love to do a theme. I don't like ever not theme when I get a chance to theme. So I loved the idea of the alignments, of the day alignments. And I think the mark is on the inside of their palm, but I just wanted to be able to like see it. So I left it on the outside. But because I thought that was like a really unique kind of way of doing things. So I really liked the alignment. I really love her prose. She has just beautiful lines. There's some lines in here that I just adored. I didn't read it from the point of a writer at all, which is hard for me to do because now that I am one, you know, it's hard to kind of like take a step back like that. But I really like books that allow me to do that. I like books that are so engaging that I forget that I'm a writer. And like, yes. I like books that surprise me. And this one definitely did. The ending definitely surprised me on several levels. Because I feel like it's hard, you know, like I'm an avid reader, which I'm sure most of you are. And I feel like I've read a lot of things now. So it's kind of like, ooh, when something surprised me, or that, especially as a writer, that I didn't see coming, I love that because it's like, oh, how would yes, like I totally would have done that, or I could have like, how did I miss that, or you know. So I really love how Rosie crafted this story, and it just felt tight. The tension felt like it rose at appropriate times for me, like, and they both had stakes going in, and I was always rooting for Karina to like realize, like, she doesn't need the Kestrel to be like the Sultana. And I was waiting and I was ready. And like, there were like those times where she just like, she would get so close and then she'd back away, and she'd get so close and she'd back away. And I love that. So
yes, I love that. Speaking of Karina, it looks like some people are talking about her in the chat.
Tell us about it.
Sage says Karina's character growth was phenomenal. And yes, 100% here for the mental health rep. It was handled so well. Yes,
I totally agree.
Character growth to be like, I don't need my mom. At the start, I did not like Karina at all, but I kept going because the writing is so engrossing, and I'm so glad I did. Oh, I'm so glad you did too, Sage. Yay.
Me too. Sage, did you like Malik more at the beginning? Let us know. I'd love to know.
Yes. And yeah, we'll go into our favorite. Let's go into our favorite character after this, because it might not be Malik or Karina for some people. So
right.
When I got to the end, I ran to DM my BFF. Literally, all I could say was, damn. My husband, Chris, was next to me, and I was like, oh my God. And like, he was like watching something, so I had to like go into the like my bedroom, and I was just like, and I'd be like fiercely, I'm reading, and then I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening right now. Read. Oh my God.
You have to reread. You're like, what did I just see?
Scribbling Cat. It took longer for Karina to grow on her too. Her anger management was a bit concerning in the beginning. Yes. Okay. Yeah. And then Teresa agreed. And that kind of fed into Malik's initial impression of her, that she was some, wild, oh no, Alicia, come back. That she was like volatile and irresponsible. Oh, good. Okay, you're back.
Right. Yeah, I don't know where I went. Sorry.
That's okay. I was just saying how like Malik believed what they said of Karina, that she was like irresponsible and volatile, and you know, all she knew was that her older sister died. But like I felt like I was able to connect. Like I connected to her right away because her older sister died, and then her mom's being mean to her, and she felt misunderstood. But like seeing how kind of cunning she was with like the, what was the instrument she had, the
her like
yeah, whatever her instrument was, and how she kind of like tricked them. And like, so I knew there were layers to her that would be uncovered as we went. But Malik was who I actually was drawn to first. And that was because I saw how his love for his sisters, like right away, I was drawn to it. And how even like he wanted to help this kid and ends up stealing the satchel. And I was just like, he's got heart. And that, like, so yeah, I was initially drawn to Malik at first more.
For me, it was like, I was drawn to Karina at first because of the scene where she manipulates that guy, the musician, into getting into a competition with her. And when I read that part, I was like, she reminds me of my character that I was writing. And I was like, this is something Amaya would totally do. And so I think I connected with her because of that. But then I started to, so I initially liked her because of that. But then I started to go, I'm not so sure about her anymore. Because then the way she treated Fareed and Amanada, you know, there were some times where I'm like, she's acting like a real brat. Care for her those times. But then I started to like her again as we got to the end.
Yes, yes.
I think I liked Malik at the beginning more. I liked him more because of his loyalty to his sisters. And when the wish was made and then they met with a deer and he had to decide to go ahead with this deal with the deer to save his sister, I liked that part. But then I got mad at him later on because of what he did toward the end, when I didn't think, after going through the challenges and spending a little time with Karina, I thought, okay, he's falling for her. He's not going to go with this. He's going to try to figure out a different way to get his sister back. And then he stabs her.
Right.
And that broke my heart.
I mean, yeah, he did that. He did do that.
I was like, what are you doing? You shouldn't have even done that. So then I was like, okay, now you made me mad, Malik.
I know she threw you in the water, but like, this is
I was like, what are you doing? I didn't think, because he kisses her and I'm like, oh, they're really going to try to be together. And then it was like, stab. Like, oh my God.
He was so mad. He was just too mad at her. He was too mad that she chose not him.
Yeah. I mean, she kind of changed on me a little bit too, because when she like took his win away, which, I mean, I understand why she took the win away, because she was trying to save him. But then for him to come around and do that, I was like, what just happened?
It's hard because I feel like he was always on the fence. So like I didn't know which way he was going to go. So that's what made it so hard, because it wasn't, you're always like, well, every time he had a scene with Karina to draw closer to her, then he would have another scene with Nadia, or like remembering that he needed to save her, or all that where Layla's trying to save him now, and he's like, I can't let her sacrifice go in vain. She said, save her. And now I'd be betraying both of my sisters by saving Karina. So in a way, then he was trying to go with his head instead of his heart. So he was trying to like go against.
He was trying to do the opposite.
Yeah, against his like nature, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but that just like threw me. That threw me when he did that. I was like, what is happening?
Throw the book.
That very flaw of his was one of the reasons why I fell in love with him right away, is that he's very soft, but he cares about people. I mean, hey, that's what love does, you know, to you. But I really empathized with him as like, because of his family situation and being a refugee. I thought I actually did connect to Karina right away, because I saw her as like a free spirit where she really never felt like she could please anyone, especially her mother, who is called the Kestrel. Like, that's a lot of pressure when you're like, you feel like you're being watched, like, you know, like a hawk is watching you.
That's true.
And I thought it was interesting because like Malik is like desperate to go to Ziran, and Karina is desperate to leave Ziran, and they both have issues doing that. And I felt like, I said, if I grew up like Karina, I would be just like her. Like, you know, I understood why she acted the way she did in certain situations. But I mean, you just can't help but like fall in love with Malik. Like when he said, when it was like, oh, like his heart raced whenever he thought of the epic love the old story spoke of, love so strong people would cross oceans and face down gods just for the chance of it. That was what Malik wanted, but he was too anxious, too poor, too strange to ever have something like that. So wanting it would have to be enough. And I was like, I'll give you love.
I got chills when you read
it. You gotta love him. So you know, and I think it might have been the fact that Rosie started off in Malik's point of view, that right away, you know, you start off with him. So
right.
So I'm kind of opposite of everybody on screen right now. I love her anger. So Brittany, I know Brittany Wang is on, or she was, so she's gonna understand this comment. I am an Enneagram 8, so we're part of the like anger triad. So I totally understand the way her anger is operating, and it's this big force that she can't control, and she's got nobody to support her. Her family's like basically dead. Her mom basically wants nothing to do with her. She has one friend who's her servant, but no like real friends. So I get Malik's point of view and I like that, but I was not concerned by her anger because I understand anger that powerful, and I know what that's gonna be for a character arc, because that is a huge part of her character arc, that she has to be able to like rein that anger in a little bit and only use it like to, you know, save herself basically, or like save her city, or, you know, like things like that. So it's not that I dislike Malik. I just was not invested in his perspective from the get-go, and I was like, why? Like, and it might have been because I read the book blurb first, and I was like, thinking like, okay, like, well, but like, where's the Sultana? Like, why are we starting with his? And, you know, so I think maybe personally Malik has higher stakes because it's his family, it's his sisters, but like on a more zoomed out view, Karina's stakes are higher because she's responsible for the whole city and the whole space. So I think that they really, like, I think Rosie really looked at that duality and then juxtaposed them really well, because they're really nice foils for each other too. You know, they can kind of flop back and forth where she's strong, he's not. And I really like that. So, but I have a hard time judging her for her anger when I can understand it. You know, it's like, yeah, like, everybody's dead. She doesn't have anybody that like relates to her on a level. You know, Malik's really the first one to do that. But like, look at the way her anger helps her in, you know, she doesn't want to kill, is it Dee Dee? I was gonna say the one that she like is like, okay, let's raise this kid, and goes into she goes into challenge with her, and like, it's because she was like being goaded and she was being underestimated, and you know, like, I think that anger served her well. And even after the fact, like after Tunde dies and after all of that, right? Like she's like, this is not the way. I'm not doing this, because I think she even says something about like anger does not like drive out the light. And so like I just really enjoyed the way that anger was portrayed, because it was almost like it was its own character within the novel. Like there was Karina and her anger, who is part of her, but that anger, just the way that Rosie kind of describes it and talks about it, and it moves like a storm and it's forceful and powerful, and I felt it had its own kind of characteristics. So
yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Scribbling Cat said she noticed that too. I tried to be analytical for a bit, but was sucked in way too much to even keep decent notes. Oh, that's amazing. And the oud, yeah. So thank you for that.
Yes, the instrument was the oud. Yes.
Hi, Danya. I don't know what the emote was in response to, but hello. And actually, Didele, yeah, that was who. I had to go back. I'm like, I know I wrote down all of the challengers' names, so Didele was the one.
Yeah, but didn't she go by not Didele? Didn't she go by something different? I don't know.
No, because it was Ada Tunde went by
Yeah, he went by Tunde.
Yeah. Kat said, I like a character whose strength isn't tied to violence in some way, and Malik was very much that. Yes.
Right.
Which is like, hey, now you have to go kill someone. Have fun with that. Brittany, I don't know who I'd say I like the most yet, but I really enjoyed how real she made all the characters. None of the main players felt like a one-note character. Yes, that was so true. And that was why, like, trying to figure out, like, who was, like, the mole was so hard for me.
Right.
Because I was like, oh, like, I mean, Farid was nowhere.
Nowhere on my radar.
It was all the Grand Vizier, Geneva, or whatever. Because I was like, oh, they're butting heads. Like, I'm totally suspicious of you. So to be like, no, as it was happening, I was like, no, you're like the brother. No.
So mad. Oh, I'm so mad. I was like, bro, these are my focus goggles, guys. Like when I put these on, I'm like, no. Like I'm honed in. That's what I call them, my focus goggles.
Yeah.
It was like, I actually saw that coming. I didn't want it to happen, because what gave it away was like, there was one point, which I think even Karina commented on this too, where when she told him about someone within their court or whatever being the betrayer, his reaction was a little too calm. Like I wanted a bigger reaction out of him, and it was a little bit too calm. And I was like, I think it's him. Like I don't want it to be him, because I sympathized with them, and I like felt bad for him, because like he lost his family too. He came here, and Karina and her family kind of became a second family for him, and he loved her sister, and he lost her, and I felt bad for him, and I was like, I really don't want him to end up being the bad guy, but I knew.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I guess I didn't notice that he acted blasé, because everyone was kind of like that. Like everyone was kind of shrugging her off, and then I was so like tied up in everything else that I was like, oh, okay, totally missed that.
One thing I wanted to say, Holly, is I think Rosie did a great job with doing storytelling within storytelling, especially when Malik has to do that second challenge and he decides to tell that story, that like, I guess, fable or tale that was part of their history about the lady in the bag. I love that part of the book. That was one of two of the favorite things I liked about the book, is the storytelling. Because I mean, even though she's telling this wide story, I mean, she had a wonderful little inside story with him telling that particular story within that challenge.
Yes, and that was the second challenge, right?
Yeah, that was the second challenge, and I love the line at the end when the lady says, "Well, oh yeah, this is not my bag. This is his bag," even though she went through all that stuff saying that it was her bag. I mean, it was a great story inside of the story. So that was one of my favorite things about the book too.
Yes, I always love challenges where it's not all like physical. It's not all like you're fighting. It's like first you have to find something, then he's telling the story, and then now it's this maze. And so I love those type of challenges. Those like draw me in. Like I'm a sucker for those. So I loved that.
But I wonder, like, the magic that he uses to tell the story, I didn't get whether their magic was supposed to be hidden or if everybody knew that some of them had magic. I was kind of confused on that part.
That's a good question.
That, I mean, that kind of, to me, was one of the things that surprised me at the end, is that you find out, you're like, well, you have magic, you have magic, you have magic, what?
Right.
And I feel like there's some, it is supposed to be this kind of, like, no one is supposed to have magic anymore. And so it seems like, okay, well, it didn't just go away. People still had it and they were all hiding it and they didn't want to reap the consequences. Okay. And, you know, I think that when I know we will at some point reread the book, we'll see that I think Rosie does do a lot of foreshadowing for many things. Even the very first chapter of Karina's point of view, when she gets the book from the bard that she won the contest from, like, I went back because when she said, when she made the connection between the bard, I went back and she said, Karina flipped idly through the tome of the dearly departed, her eyes glazed over various chapter headings, differentiating Zawenji magic from Ulraji magic, care and feeding of an infant serpropard, the rite of resurrection involving the comet Murat. And I was like, what? It's all right there. Like,
oh my gosh.
So good.
And so I still don't think I fully understand the difference between the Zawenji and the Ulraji magic. I think that's going to really come out in book 2. There's so much still there.
Yeah, because I remember I wrote down the 2 types of magic. The Zawenji magic affects the tangible physical world, and the Ulraji magic affects the intangible, so memories, dreams, death.
Which is why Karina and Malik are good, like, counterparts of each other, because she's got the physical with the storms and everything, and then he's got the wraiths.
Yes.
Want to say really quick Brittany's thing about even though characters did things that got her upset, she made me love them all, but because of that, they felt really fleshed out with many dimensions, which I liked. And I think the magic is what helps give them multiple dimensions. And the whole Zawenji magic, which we didn't know that Karina, the mic drop at the end of that Farid told her that she was the reason why her mom and sister died. But yeah, so, anyways, I'm like, I'm going into like the ending stuff. I want to sing.
It's good. We better, because we've got about 20 minutes, right? On our.
Yeah, you figured out who the moles were. So that's awesome. Okay, who wants to pick a question to talk about? Because I don't want to go into, I want to talk about what you guys want to talk about.
Let's see.
I'll let you guys decide first.
I was saying, I'm just happy to be talking about it. So I don't mind anything. I'm looking for a specific quote because there were so many that I like really loved. And I'm looking for it, so I'm trying to find that, but I'm just happy to be talking with you guys. So
Cool.
I'm sorry. I will say that about the favorite quote.
Yes.
I like the quote that I think it was Hyena.
Yeah, the hyena character, the goddess.
Yeah, the goddess girl. Where she's talking, I believe she's talking to Malik, and she says, "A story ends when it ends, and not a moment before. If you're unhappy with this ending, make a new one."
And that's before they go. Yeah, that's like when when he's in prison, right?
He's in like the jail cell, I believe he's in the jail cell, and she's talking to him, and I think he's kind of down, and she tells him that, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so true. If you don't like your situation, you're the only person that can change it. So if you're unhappy with it, make a new one. And I just thought that was a powerful quote. I mean, in their conversation when they're interacting with each other, I just thought that was like a powerful scene.
Yes. Oh, that was.
I love that quote.
Beautiful. Yeah. If you guys have any quotes or lines that you like, please drop it in the comments. Brittany has to hang out, but thanks for coming. And finish the book. You will be you won't be disappointed. And so thanks for coming.
Bye, Brittany.
Bye. Anyone else have any good quotes? I
had way too many quotes, so I'm only going to talk about a couple. And some of these are just the clever way she weaves the sentences. Like, Karina was as beautiful as the story said, but so were leopards, and Malik wouldn't have known what to do if left alone with one of those either.
I laughed right out loud at that, Heather. I love that line.
Yes. One of mine was Malik's mind flew to the weapon hiding in his skin. Called the Wraiths. I was just like, wow, the weapon's in his skin. That was so cool.
One quote that I like, especially because with everything that's going on in the world today, I like how, she ties in some of these issues into the book. And so there's a quote here that says, "Nothing good can come of a place that refuses to see the pain of the people on whose backs it was built."
Page is that on? Is that when they're in the necropolis? Is that when they're in the necropolis, Vanessa?
That is.
Do you have the page for that?
It's on page 442. I don't remember.
Can we talk about that a little bit? There were a lot of things that she ground us to the present day, that really ripped my heart out.
Really quick, I want to go to Kat's, not a quote, but when they leave the necropolis and rest, Karina wonders whether fatigue or starvation will kill them first, and was like, "You've been gone less than a day. Over dramatic much?" I was like, that's so funny. I totally didn't catch that she said that.
I didn't either.
Can I say a quote real quick that I found before we go on to the necropolis stuff?
Totally.
Okay, so this is at the end, on the bottom of 390 into 391. But she held within her all their love and their hopes and their dreams. She was neither a reflection of them nor a replacement, but rather everything that they'd been, combined to form something completely new, something more than she could have been on her own. The best way to honor them would be to take them with her toward whatever lay on the other side of that marvelous sunrise. And maybe as she did, she would find her way to the answers that lay on the other side of her pain. So she rose to her feet, with the sun warm on her face and birdsong in her ear. She left the garden to welcome the last day of the solstice. And I just love that. I was like, that, because that's a survivor, and that's why I like Karina so much, because she's a survivor.
Yeah.
And
that brings me to one more quote that with Malik at the end, when he, finished the deal with Idir, to go inside him, and he said, "This is my mind. I'm the strongest person.
Strongest person here." Yeah.
There's no stranger
Yeah.
in his head. You know, so it was like, oh, like he was able to overcome the physical and like inner demons. So,
Mhm.
so Heather, I know you wanted to talk about.
Oh, yes, yeah. So there were a few things that made me that kind of ripped my heart out about like the present day thing. One is right away he's trying to hide his accent
Right.
because he doesn't want to stand out and be judged for being this, you know, refugee. And like, that I was like, those are issues today. But the connection and undertones of like the riots, the brutality and the stigma towards the refugees, all of that came out in different ways. So like when Malik was with Tunde and Driss in the, I believe they were in the pub, or and then like the riots are happening, and he was, and one of the lines was like, he was the kind of person, Malik was the kind of person who could be arrested at any time for any reason, who could do everything the soldiers told him to do and still leave the encounter harmed.
Yes.
And it's just like,
I thought about that too.
Oh, that is wrong. And then the last piece was, but the fear that centuries of brutality had instilled in his people propelled him forward. Like, he just rises above that, everything that has kept him down. And I was just like, this is just too real. This is too good. I just, it ripped my heart out.
I'm also remembering too when he was at the party and the like head guy was like, first of all, being smarmy AF. First of all, yeah, and then second of all, but like he was treating the like servant boy who was 10, who so just unfairly and inappropriately, and like I really like how Malik kind of like loses it there. He's like, wait, no, like we're not gonna do this, and like, and I think it kind of comes out there that he is not quite the passing Adil that he's like pretending to be, right? Like he kind of slips a little bit. But yeah, I really, even though it was fantasy and I was so engaged, I definitely felt those connections too of like, okay, wait, this is like real life. And I think that's why it's so important to read, especially in today's climate, authors that are BIPOC, because we're trying to like, what's our tagline, right? Like expanding our bookshelves and our minds, or right?
We're supporting BIPOC authors and expanding our bookshelves.
Right. So, and as a white woman, like I am working actively to be anti-racist right now. Like that is something that I'm working hard to do. Holly knows a little bit about my journey with that. And there's some things that I'm coming up against that are hard. And it's just the reason why we read books is to have empathy, right? Like we read books because we're looking for representation, and like we're looking to see other people and learn about other people and learn about different ways of life. And so I think the way that Rosie crafts really poignant civil rights matters in this is especially relevant to today's conversation. Like not like just today's conversation, but like the national conversation.
Yeah, and that's why I love fantasy so much, because you can have those parallels with real life. So it's like, you know, I feel like it's like a thing of the past, but people are like, oh, you write fantasy for young adults or middle grade? Oh, that's child's play. And it's like, no, these are really powerful things that are making a difference. So like, where's that power?
And right, like when we want to be writing for young adults that are going to become adults, that are going to have voting power, and that are going to be the ones like changing the world, like don't, like people who make fun of YA authors are not somebody that I understand, because like I work with kids. My like daytime job is like working with kids. I call it cat herding, because I work with a 6-year-old little boy and a 2.5, almost 3-year-old little boy, and it's herding cats, you know. But like my job is to like prepare them for the world and to like help them make the world better. So yeah, I'm gonna write for YA because they're the ones that are gonna have some of the power. I want them to. Yeah.
That's awesome. Aww.
Hey, Holly.
Yes.
I did want to ask a question.
Yes.
The animal creature that they were fighting, I don't know if they were in Necropolis or not, but it's called a shepherd or.
Oh yeah, like the serpopard.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that supposed to be half lion, leopard, and half serpent, or?
Yes, I think so. Or like, yeah, like some kind of griffin mashup, which Savannah, I don't know if you're on. Holly, is she on?
I don't think so.
Okay. But they're like, so one of our friends, Savannah, I mean, Teresa, you know Savannah.
Oh yeah.
And Heather does too. So Vanessa, sorry, you're the only one that doesn't know our friend Savannah, but I'm sure she would love to meet you in conversation sometime. Writes about griffins, but I kind of got the feeling that it was kind of a griffin type mashup, but like this huge long snake neck and but like furry appendages, right?
Yeah,
Right. So that's why I was confused. I was like, is it supposed to be a griffin, or what is this to me?
I just imagined like the serpent part of the creature. Oh, look.
That's what I was. Yes, that's what I was imagining. The serpent.
Hi, Savannah. I figured you were here. I thought you had said you were going to try to
her. I know she was hanging with Renee. So if Renee's there too, say hey.
Hey, Renee. But
so what's the reason, like, when I read that part, like, I knew it was a different creature, but I couldn't help but thinking of the basilisk from Harry Potter.
Me too.
But I can't imagine.
Same here.
Yeah.
Oh, and Keelan's here a little late.
Hi, Keelan.
Hey, Keelan.
I just want to drop in and say hi. Thanks. Thanks for dropping in.
Well, and I think there's something about like the wraiths coming from like all these different cultures, right? Because we've got Rosie writing about wraiths, and then we've got obviously Joanne wrote about wraiths, and then I was watching Once Upon a Time, rewatching Once Upon a Time last night, and they have like a wraith like character in there too. So it's just like this character. I mean, Joanne wrote about Dementors, but I mean, if you think about it, like they're basically wraiths, right? They're soul sucker, joy sucker, like. It's all the same. So there's something about that like archetype across culture, which I really love finding, that especially in books by BIPOC authors and authoresses, I really like finding those like connector pieces that are, you know, like across culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be interesting.
Unique.
Oh, what, Teresa?
It was a unique creature, and when I was reading that, I was like, okay, I'm trying to imagine this, but is it a big serpent head and a little leopard lion body?
No, but remember it said it had like a cow-sized head, so like this thing is huge.
Pokemon of sorts. I love that.
I think that's the best we're gonna get, Kat.
Yeah. Then
Dear
I was like,
Rosie,
oh my God, I hope they get away from this thing.
Can we band together and like write her a little note like from a fan club? Dear Rosie, please commission a sketch of this creature. We all need to know.
We will see in the future movie. We will see in the movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that'll be a great scene in the movie. That's gonna be so good. That'll be so good.
So you guys, so what are you looking forward to in the sequel? What do you think is going to happen? Because obviously now Hanane, I hope I'm saying her name right, has been resurrected, but she's like the lich or the like, you know, so like she's kind of like this. They're like, oh, actually, it's not good that she's resurrected because she's just this mindless walking corpse powered by dark magic. Great, but
Karina's gonna have to kill her. She is going to have to be the one to kill her. Yes, because here's why. Because she knows that she is going to be a better ruler than a mindless, like walking zombie, and she is going to have to realize that like she can do it better than her sister, who even though like should have done it, and like it's gonna kill her to have to do it, but she's got to do it. It's got to be her. Yeah. Because like, and it's going to be some sort of redemption arc for her, because then she'll have like redeemed like killing her the first time accidentally, but killing her the second time will be like a redemption, because it'll be saving her people. And she wouldn't want her sister to be like mindless and controlled and not enjoying life and not being able to dance and food and drink and read and all of those things. So I bet she has to kill Hane.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I could see that happening.
I'm actually wondering if there's going to be a twist where, like, okay, because I'm thinking about the show Arrow, and I don't know, has anyone here watched Arrow?
No, I haven't.
No, I've seen like snippets of it. The star is very attractive to me. I'm very attracted to the star of Arrow, but I don't think that's what we're getting at here, Vanessa. So go ahead, lead the way.
And sorry if this spoils it for anyone who
You're fine.
been keeping up with it. But in Arrow, there's a part where, you know, I forget which season, but Bia, his sister, dies, and there's a way to bring her back. I forget the name of the pit, like the Lazarus pit or something like that. But they bring her back, but she's different. But that's because, you know, they brought her back physically, but they still have to bring back her soul, her personality. And there's a way that they did it using magic. I don't remember exactly how Constantine was like a guest. Actually, I think they did this for another character. There's multiple characters that died on the show.
As with any good thing, right? Somebody always has to die. Like, somebody's got to die.
So this might have been a different character that I'm thinking of. But Constantine kind of has to do this magic ritual thing to try and bring back her soul. And so I'm like thinking about that, and I'm wondering if there would be a twist where there's a way to bring back her sister, where she's not just a mindless walking corpse, but she's actually the person they knew before she died. And what would happen then? Like, would she rule? How would this change things?
That's actually a really good point, because maybe Malik will, you know, because he's going to be training with Farid in the Oraji magic, so maybe somehow he'll be able to use that intangible world to help Hanane.
It's true.
Who knows?
Maybe. Oh, so good.
That says, will Hanane show her remaining humanity by killing Farid while he tries to hurt Karina first, though?
That could be interesting.
Wow, that is powerful. So powerful.
Whoa, wow.
I think Malik's probably going to have to go into some sort of mental health battles with Adir, because now he's got this other powerful creature in his mind. And even though he knows, he's said it to himself once, like, I am the strongest person here. Like, you don't get that way by only forging in one fire. You know, like,
Right.
So I think there's probably going to have to be some more battles, some mental battles, and like maybe he's going to like lose control of the Wraiths or something, and like is he going to become in control of like the Wraith army because he's got, you know, like he's got Adir in him now, so like are they going to report to him? Is he going to like, because there's some power that struggle I think that's going to be able to happen there, which is exciting.
I'm worried because, like, you know, so Malik is going to be growing stronger, and then on the flip side, Karina is also going to be growing stronger because now she's out of Zeran, and like, you know, fled with Afua, so, and she's going to be building up her the Zoenji magic. But I'm also curious because when I was looking back, I totally forgot. So they had talked about the unaligned, so they don't have the emblems on their palms and they live far away. So I'm wondering if we'll learn more about the unaligned because she'll run into them you know, on her journey. So I'm thinking we'll learn more about the unaligned, and yeah, obviously see how Karina can handle non you know, royal life.
Right. I hope we also get to see a little bit of like redemption for them both, because their families are so interconnected now, or like their lineage is so interconnected that we now understand. And I mean, like the way her, what is it, her great grandmother, or her aunt, I was to say, like, had to sacrifice her son, which we didn't even get into in this conversation, but like had to sacrifice her son to form the barrier. And like that's the whole like point of Adir's rage. And so like and coming back to Karina's rage too, I think that's going to be a really good way to see that, because she is his direct descendant and he has all this rage and she has all this rage, and she's going to be able to like counteract it. But I hope we might get to see Karina and Malik as like a redemptive arc for their families and that hurt and that pain that they've kind of had inflicted upon them because of love and sacrifice.
Yes.
And hopefully get together. Have to face each other again. I'm sorry, Holly.
Oh no! I was just saying, hopefully get together.
Yeah. Well, face each other and get rid of the Adir and the rest of them, and then fall in love with each other.
It's gonna be tough. I know. I think they've got a big battle ahead of them for their love. Like, yeah.
Do you guys know, is this a trilogy or a duology?
I hope it's a trilogy. I always like trilogies.
I heard someone say duology, but I don't know.
I don't know if she mentioned yet. I think she just said book 2.
Okay.
Because I listened to one of her live streams and she was talking about how she said that when people read book 2, they really want to read book 1 again. So I know she's trying really hard to, you know, have all of the elements that we loved about this book in the second one, which I know she announced the title, but I'm forgetting. A Psalm of...
it's, oh wait, I'm here right now. It's a Psalm of Storms and Silence.
Yeah, and so I actually, with the theories for book 2, like knowing what she did with all the twists in this book, I am already anticipating her mind, and that she's probably going to flip things, you know, upside down. So like, you know, everyone reveres like, you know, Bahia, like Bahia's Comet, they have the festival. But now you're like, oh, I don't know if she was really a good person. And then the Faceless King or Adir, it's like, okay, now should I have sympathy for him? And so I actually am thinking in his mind, I'm not really worried for Malik. I think Malik is maybe going to learn more about Adir because he's in his head, and somehow form this alliance and say, actually, you're not the bad guy.
I don't want that.
But I don't know. I'm just saying.
I don't know about that. I'd be very upset. But we'll just have to see. Hey. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Heather, that's a good.
More about Adir though. I do want to learn, because I don't remember them really getting into how this whole barrier came up fully and what happened with Adir and Karina's family. So I hope. I didn't really get a lot of that when I was reading it. I got a little glimpse of it when he was talking to Malik, but I hope they go a little bit more into that too, so you can kind of get a picture of who Adir really is. To me, he's a bad guy right now.
Right.
But I hope they go a little bit more into his story and how it's fully connected to Karina and why he's the way he is.
Right.
Yeah. So we can see the layers to him too. Yeah.
Yeah, because it all kind of, so I hope that comes out in book 2.
Yeah, because the barrier was formed to stop their people from being enslaved, right? The pharaoh wasn't it like a pharaoh who was like enslaving them, right?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting. But I do think Adir is crafted really well. I love villains, so I think he's a really great. Yeah, I do.
I love villains.
Yes, Teresa, we'll have to talk about that sometime, because this is my Ursula cup, in case you're wondering.
Oh, that's wonderful.
That is adorable.
I do love me
so
some
much.
villains. So,
All of
but I think he's crafted really well, and like all of her characters are. So I think it'll be super interesting to see. And yeah, like when you can give good villain backstory and make us like sympathetic for the villain. Oh, you know.
Yeah.
Totally. Well, you guys, we're at an hour. So how are you guys feeling? Is there anything else that we didn't talk about that you want to bring up? Alicia, I don't know if you have to go.
Not quite yet.
Okay.
I've got a few minutes, probably.
Or
I mean, I
anyone-
should go probably at some point because I'm getting kind of hungry. So,
Okay. Or if anyone in the comments has anything that we didn't talk about that you're like itching to discuss, please let us know before we cut things off. I don't want to leave that. I'm trying to look through my stuff here.
I just want to know, when can I get this thing signed?
oh yeah.
No.
Yes.
Is she doing book plates? I mean, that might be a good like.
She had pre-order goodies that I think she might have had some character bookmarks, and maybe she signed something, but those sold out like hotcakes.
Super cakes, yeah.
I had a really hard time even getting this book to begin with, and I got the last copy from Barnes & Noble.
Me too.
Yeah. It's
yeah.
like,
Oh my gosh, I was having a heck of a time. I mean, Holly, you ordered it online first, right?
I ordered it online from like a Black-owned bookstore, and it got lost in the mail.
Yep.
Oh,
everywhere I looked to order
it again.
Yeah, everywhere I looked to order it, didn't have it. I ended up having to go to the Barnes & Noble. But I feel like I made up for it when I went and got this one because
Mine is on Monday.
yes, I supported a local business with this one, so I was happy to do that. But I'm really excited for that. I'm really excited for our next conversation.
Yes, guys, if you don't know, Tristan Strong punches a hole in the sky. If you want to hold that up, yes, that is August's book club pick of the month. Super excited, middle grade.
Rick Riordan presents,
Yes.
which I don't know. Can I talk about this a little bit for a second?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. So Rick Riordan writes Percy Jackson. He writes the Kane Chronicles, which is a set of siblings in Egyptian mythology. He writes in a Norse mythology, and he writes one other one, I think. But at one point, his fans were asking him for other mythologies from around the world. And Rick Riordan is a white man, and he does a really great job with including diverse characters across the board in his novels. I've always felt like he's done a really great job with that. And if anybody else has read and disagrees, please let me know, because I would be really interested to know why you disagreed with that. But so people were calling for other mythologies, and he said, it's not right for me to do this because these are not my cultures. These are not something I really feel like I can understand and do well. So he kind of started like this like spin-off branch of like under his name. So it's Rick Riordan Presents, and he goes and like the authors are like in cultures. So this is Kwame Mabalia. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but so the chances are that this is going to be awesome, because I love Rick Riordan's stories, first of all, and I love the way that he includes other characters, and I really just love the way that he's respecting other people's cultures and said, like, this isn't appropriate for me to do this. So what I'm doing is I'm doing Rick Riordan Presents. So now stories like Tristan Strong, and there's a whole bunch of other stories, like two or three.
I read Arusha and the End of Time.
Yes.
By Roshani Chokshi, and then there's, oh shoot, I'm blinking too on the other one.
There's at least one more, I think, that's come out under this like kind of sub-publishing line.
Yes. Really awesome. So yeah, pick up Tristan Strong. Kat actually does have one more important question. How the heck did Malik stab a guard with a knife in his mouth?
Wasn't the guard close enough that he was able to just like In case you missed that reenactment, I'll give it to you again. It was.
We'll have to wait for the movie and see. They probably won't include.
Yeah, see that?
Probably not. Rude.
Magic.
Hello.
One of the
I took
Wraiths
it
was
as like the you know when you hear the stories of people like when they have the fight or flight, like, and they just end up having some like superhuman strength or something like that, or
Right.
they survive something. Like I feel like it just was this like unnatural react, and he could just do it, and it like doesn't make sense, but it happened.
I mean, magic. Like you said, like we said, just magic. I don't know. That is a good question, though, Kat.
I love that, Kat. Yes.
You guys should tag Holly or me. I don't want to speak for anybody else, but like with your reenactment poses of stabbing somebody with a knife in your mouth. We'd love to see it.
You guys need to screenshot.
Yeah, put it in the Facebook group.
Oh my gosh. Next month we'll all be like punching, like it'll be great. It'll be great.
We're gonna be our own problem here.
Yeah, this is so I try to be rotating guests every month. So some, if guests want to come back, if new guests want to come in, so we're going to have lots of fluidity and having fun people. And I definitely want all of you guys back. Because you guys were awesome. Thank you so much for joining me and talking about this awesome book. And thank you everyone in the comments for joining, listening and reading and supporting BIPOC authors. And yeah, I guess I'm going to end it here, but be on the lookout. I'll try to be, so what I was trying to do in the book club was post about the author, kind of post some fun things to help with engagement throughout the month. So I'll try to do that for Kwame, Mabalia, and for Tristan Strong. So be on the lookout for posts coming up soon.
Can't wait to theme next month's outfit.
Oh, I know.
All right.
Here I am.